to another episode of Pick and Roll with the Presley Bros. We are back again with another late night episode. Always Tucker's fault, by the way, because he has children and I do not. But, it is what it is. We thank you for tuning in. I want to take a moment. Please subscribe to the channel. It's down below. It does not sign you up for anything. It's free to you. It just helps us out. We're up to 54, on our way to 100.
75.
So please share with your friends. Like and subscribe. Go to our Instagram at PR_Presley Bros. We got 70 followers over there. So please, that's right. Please continue to follow along. We're in the middle of conference play. It has been hot. We are talking about a lot of upsets tonight and some other topics, Cinderella teams, predictions for games. It's going to be a great night of college basketball, as always. Tucker, what do you got?
I think we need to move into reacting to this weekend, because I thought about this. In college football, there are, we're big college football fans too, but in college football, there's always one or two weekends that are just kind of like a dud weekend where there's like no big games. And it's just like, okay, it's just not a great weekend. And it's most of the time in those weekends is when you have the most chaos and you have the upsets. Like when you're least expecting it is when those upsets happen. And that doesn't happen as much in college basketball just because there's so many teams that you're just bound to have at least one or two good games. Well, this past weekend, there was no game that you just kind of looked at and were like, that's the game of the weekend. Like, what a great game. It was just a bunch of decent games. There was no great game on the docket. It was kind of shocking, but there was chaos everywhere. Like, we least expect it, and there were upsets everywhere. I mean, Wisconsin beat Michigan, West Virginia beat Kansas, Auburn beat Arkansas, Texas beat Alabama. I mean,
Florida beat Tennessee.
Florida beat Tennessee. I don't call that an upset, but
I do.
No way. Florida's better than Tennessee.
Yeah, but they killed them.
I don't care. And it was at Florida. So,
true.
Anyways, but if you want to consider it an upset, hey, it just adds to the fact that there were so many crazy games, and it wasn't expected. But I think we need to start with Wisconsin beating Michigan. Let's go. We called it. Well, we didn't call the upset. I would have never picked that, but
yeah. I would have never picked Wisconsin because, let's be real, they're really not that great of a team. I mean,
they're not.
I'm just trying to get it. They've lost to TCU by 9, lost to Nebraska by 30, lost to Villanova by 10. And they only lost to Purdue by never mind. They lost to Purdue by 16. So I mean, they're not that good of a team, and I would have never picked Wisconsin to win, but they played a great game, and their best player, John Blackwell, went off.
Nice middle name there.
Yeah, that's right. He had 26 points, 9 of 16 shooting, 4 of 8 from 3. They had another guy, Nick Boyd. He had scored 22. And then I'm going to butcher this, Alexis Belasauskas. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Oh boy.
He's averaging 5 points a game, had 17 against Michigan.
Yeah.
And they just came out hot. And it's not like Michigan didn't play well. Michigan had 1, 2, 3, 4 guys in double digits. So it wasn't like they didn't play bad, but Wisconsin just got the better of them. The Wisconsin did shoot 50% overall and 45% from 3. If you're shooting that well, 15 of 33 from 3, that's really impressive.
It is. It's good.
But for everybody talking about Michigan being better than Arizona, this had to put the end to it. It had to.
Gotta stop that talk now.
Yeah. It was stupid already. Yeah. And now it would just be, I forgot the word, delusional. That's the word I'm looking for. It'd be delusional if you're thinking that Michigan is now better than Arizona. They're
They
just
got
not.
0 first place votes though this week, so that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. The only other team who got one was Iowa State, and they got one. So Arizona is clearly head and shoulders the number one team, and it's not close. They are so talented up and down on both sides of the floor. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, man. This well, first of all, let me say this. Nick Boyd, played for Dusty May at FAU in that Final Four team.
Oh, yeah,
And,
you're right.
and now he's on Wisconsin and he just beat his former coach. So that is it's kind of cool there. And it's just modern college basketball. You can end up on, any team the next year. And anyways, yeah, like we were watching this game, particularly the second half is what I got to watch. And, like what's so shocking about this one is not that just that Wisconsin beat Michigan. It was at Michigan in a hostile environment. I mean, Michigan, they were, that crowd was on fire. And like Wisconsin led almost the entire second half. And there was like 15 minutes left in the second half. And I'm like, there's no way Wisconsin's holding this lead. There's just no way. I thought that Michigan was going to eventually just overtake them and, they were going to go on their patented run and just beat them by like, 15-20. But Wisconsin just kept answering the bell, shot after shot. They were hitting big shots, great 3-point shooting. And that's not normally what Wisconsin's known for, but they were jacking threes and I was really, really impressed with Blackwell. He was very, very good. That dude is a really good player. And
He is.
he played
He's been there forever.
I don't know. I've never seen him, but
You haven't?
no, but they played so good. Like the poise of Wisconsin in that environment really impressed me. And I don't know. I was really, really impressed by them, and I didn't expect that. I will say this. In our last episode, when we were talking about Michigan, I said that Michigan has this tendency to play down to their competition. And I said, if they're not careful, they're going to get clipped by somebody that they're not supposed to lose to. And that's exactly what just happened. I didn't think that it would be Wisconsin. I'll be honest. 100% did not think that was going to happen. But I did say they could be clipped by somebody they weren't supposed to lose to because we've said this a million times. They almost lost to TCU. They almost lost to Wake Forest. Maryland was with them deep into the second half. And now you got caught by Wisconsin. So here's the thing, Dalton. Both of us picked Michigan the other day as when we re-predicted conference champions.
Oh, yeah.
Both picked Michigan to win the Big Ten. This opens up the door. Like, I'm now starting to come around to maybe thinking Nebraska could win this thing.
Hey.
Like, you called it your bold prediction.
My bold prediction, and you gave it a 9.5 out of 10. So
like, I'm really starting to think like this makes the Big Ten even more interesting because
yes,
you're kind of looking at like, man, Michigan is just they're crazy good, but now you're like they're not unbeatable.
Yeah.
Again, at their best, it's going to be hard to beat them. But on any given night, I mean, Wisconsin can beat them. We just saw that at their place.
Yep.
I think Michigan's going to have a few more losses. You still got we talked about this the other night. You still got Purdue, Illinois, Michigan State, all these top teams, Nebraska still to come. You're going to lose one or two of those games. I mean, it's just bound to happen.
This is their toughest slate. They got to play Indiana at Michigan, you play Ohio State at Michigan, and they play Nebraska at Michigan, and then they play at Michigan State. So that's that's 4 games, but they have 3 games in a row at
home. Michigan. But hey, you just lost to Wisconsin at home.
Yeah.
So, I will say this too. That was big for Wisconsin for their NCAA tournament hopes. You have to pick up wins like this.
Oh yeah.
You don't have them on your schedule. I mean, what's their best win right now? I mean, it's not.
Besides
Michigan, it's not impressive.
They've lost UCLA.
Okay, they've lost most of their big games, and it's just
that's their best win.
That was huge, man. And this is what college basketball is about, man. These upsets, you go in there and you silence the crowd, and you beat this team that is, the giant, and you go in there and you haven't beaten anybody really this year, and you go and beat them and you're poised all throughout the game. I was really impressed with Wisconsin, how they handled the pressure and kept making those big shots. So hats off to them, man. Yeah, eat it, Joe.
Yeah. He's obsessed with Michigan, as we've talked about before. But this kind of just took me back to like the old Michigan teams not the old Michigan teams, old Wisconsin teams who just really took care of the ball. I mean, that's kind of what Wisconsin's been known for over the years. Just a team that they're not going to wow you. They're not going to do anything that's just incredible, but they just take care of the ball and they do the right thing at the right time. They're very fundamentally sound. And that's exactly what this game was like. Just very fundamental. And I mean, Michigan's a great team, but I saw someone post. I was just reading on Reddit because I have a Reddit, and I was just reading on there. Someone said that he thinks that Michigan is at its peak. Like they're not going to get any better than they are right now. Like that they're at the maximum of their talent. And I was like, you know what? That's actually a pretty good take. I just don't know if this Michigan team can take, like, I think they're great. I just don't know if they're going to take a jump to be like, continue to be one of the best teams in the country and then obviously compete for a national championship game. I just personally, I don't see it. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Could be wrong because this team is obviously great. They've shown flashes. I mean, you don't beat Gonzaga by 40 and not be a great team, but they were also they were on something different during that tournament. They've got to come back to earth in the past few weeks.
Well,
because they did not play well against the week before. The week before, they almost lost to Penn State. Yeah. Penn State had a chance to win at the buzzer, and they all so.
Well, I would say, their peak is higher than anybody else's peak. There's no doubt about it. So if they can play back at that level, they can win a national championship, no doubt. The problem is, I do think some teams peak at the wrong time. Like, I think about Auburn's had some teams in recent years, even last year's team. I think they peaked a little early. The year with Jabari Smith, they were on a tear, but they faded as the season went along. And I'm wondering if that's what's going to happen to Michigan. Have they already reached their peak and now they're kind of, like you said, coming back down to earth? Are they going to be able to ascend again, or is this where they're going to be, just fighting for their lives in all of these games,
Yeah.
I don't know. What shocked me the most about them was their inability to defend. Like, Wisconsin was getting to the rim. They were hitting threes. And it's like, at some point you think, okay, Michigan's going to lock in and they're going to get the stops they need and win this game. And they couldn't do it. Wisconsin just kept responding. And you got to give credit to Wisconsin. But Michigan, I just thought they were a better defensive team. They're still number one in KenPom. Their defensive rating is still number one. And that's why it shocked me so much. Like, Wisconsin just owned. I mean, they scored, what was it, 90?
91.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. It was a bad defensive game for them. But the peak argument for them is really interesting. Have they peaked already, or has that done and gone? Because if it is, they're not going to win a championship. If they can get back to that, nobody's beating the Michigan team that beat Gonzaga by 40. Sorry,
yes,
nobody.
that's true. That is true.
Can they get back to that? And I don't know. We'll see. Really, really impressive by Wisconsin, though.
Yeah. Do you have any more on that game?
No, I'm good.
Okay, we can go into the next one. I think the next one's clearly, to me, is Kansas versus West Virginia.
Yeah, this is
another huge upset, in my opinion, because West Virginia is not really, I mean, they're 11-5, but they're really not that good of a team either. And they haven't really been that good of a team. Like, they lost to Clemson, lost to Xavier, lost to Wake Forest, lost to Ohio State, lost to Iowa State. Their best win was probably the week before against Cincinnati. That's probably their best win besides beating Kansas now. But my biggest thing about Kansas, now, Trey White had 18 and Darren Peterson had 23. Those two guys are great, but Flory Badunga has been very disappointing in the losses especially, has not played well. Darren Peterson, even though he's been plagued with injuries a little bit, he's still averaging 23 points a game.
Dude's a dog.
He is just a beast, and that's why on a lot of draft boards he's top 5 easily. I've seen 1 and 2.
I've seen number 1.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of number 1s, even over AJ Debonsa. That just shows you how good he is. He is a very talented player, but he's just not getting the help that he needs. Dude, sorry, my TV's going off. Let me turn that off real quick. Sorry. Continue talking about it.
Come on, Dalton. I would say this, about I think West Virginia has to be one of the most underrated home environments. Those guys show out. I don't know if you heard what I said, Dalton, but I think West Virginia is an underrated home environment. Like I don't know. They always seem to show out. And especially for games like this, when Kansas is coming to town, doesn't matter if Kansas is in the 20s ranked, but they're still going to come out for this type of game. I didn't get to watch this game, but I did see, some of the highlights, and it looked like Kansas was in control for, a lot of this game. But then it just looked like, West Virginia kind of overpowered them in the end. And my worry with Kansas is what I've brought up multiple times is, do you rely too heavily on Darren Peterson? He's obviously an absolute star, but yeah, Trey White is a good player. He is. But who else do you have? I mean, like who else can you count on? And I just think it's like Darren Peterson and everybody else, on that team. And he's a stud. There's no doubt about it, but he can't do it alone. And Kansas, I just don't think is a great team because we've looked at it. They should have lost to TCU. They were down, but took it to overtime and won that game. They barely won that game, but there was somebody else UCF beat them.
Yep. Lost. They're 1 and 2 in their last 3 games.
Yeah, who they lost to West Virginia, UCF, and they barely beat TCU. Like they're skating on thin ice right now. And I mean, it's kind of like similar to Kentucky. It's like a team you expect to be really, really good, and they're just like, I don't know, like they're just not great at anything. West Virginia is 59 on KenPom, by the way. So not really like a team that you're going to be like, yeah, this team's definitely going to make a run. And I'm skimming through here trying to find Kansas, and I'm sure I'm missing them, but I'm not finding them yet. Anyway, do you have thoughts on this game?
My thing is, I'm not saying it's Bill Self's fault, but when are we going to see the Kansas of old? That's my question now. This is now back-to-back seasons, if not 3 seasons in a row. I don't remember what the team was like, not last season, but the season before that. I just don't remember. But they were not good last year. Did they even make the tournament last year? I don't remember if they even made the tournament.
Yes,
I think
they made the tournament. They lost to Arkansas, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. They did. Yeah. But they really weren't a good team last year. You can't deny that. They were not a good team. And this year, it seems much of the same. But it's also like, I think this is just kind of the era that we're seeing. We used to see Kansas littered with 5 stars and just beast players. But outside of Darren Peterson, I don't know what Flory Badunga came in, but like I said, he's been very disappointing. I just looked at the losses. His highest scoring game in a loss was 14. So you got to have more production from him than that. Darren Peterson can't do it all by himself. You hit it right on the head, in my opinion. I do miss the days. I don't know if you remember, they used to be called Press Virginia.
Yeah, dude, they were insane.
They were so good. I miss those days, like with Javon Carter and some of those guys who were just so good. And I think it was Bob Huff. Is that his name?
Bob Huggins, bud.
Huggins, not Huff. Yeah. But
Braden Huff.
Yeah, but there's a guy with the last name Huff.
Honor Huff.
Yeah. Well, anyways, West Virginia, they're a lot better than I guess I think they are, even though they're not like a credible team. But I do think you're right that their environment is good. I did not get to watch this game either. But they got to play Houston now at Houston.
That's a loss.
most
Hey,
likely.
you know who's on this team?
Trace and Eagle staff. I saw
Dropped,
that. I just
dropped
saw.
40 against Alabama last year. Trayson Eagle staff, baby. I think he had signed with an SEC team like South Carolina, and then
He did. South Carolina.
transferred to West Virginia.
Probably the right move.
But he's a good player. I mean, Trayson Eagle staff solid. They had
Yeah.
several guys in double figures. But here's the thing, man. Kansas was up at halftime.
Oh
And
yeah.
like I said, they were in control for a lot of this game. They got outscored by 15 in the second half. And that's just unacceptable. Like you've got to be able to maintain your level of performance. And again, I know it's a conference foe in their building, but you're better than West Virginia. At least you should be.
Yeah.
Just to kind of put this in perspective, Iowa State beat West Virginia 59-80.
Ooh.
So, and it was at Iowa State, so I get the home environment, but you just lost by 11 to this team. Now, I know it doesn't necessarily, compare apples to apples all the time. Like, okay, Iowa State beat them, you lost to them, Kansas, so that means you're going to lose to Iowa State. Doesn't always play out like that, but we're going to see because Iowa State and Kansas play tomorrow at Allen Fieldhouse. In
Yep.
Kansas, we're gonna see. But man, this Kansas team has been really, really disappointed, especially with a star like Darren Peterson. So
Yeah, and there's not really an excuse. There's just not. You can't really make an excuse for a team like Kansas. It's the same thing with Kentucky. We haven't made any excuses for Kentucky. We've just said they're bad.
yeah,
And I'm almost to the point where I'm gonna say that about Kansas too. I'm not quite there.
no,
I'm not quite to that point, but
kind of said it though, Dalton. The roster, I don't think is as good as it has been in previous
that's
years.
true.
You've got Darren Peterson, but like, I don't know. There's nobody else on this team you look like and it's like that's a bona fide star that's going to make a huge difference night in, night out.
Yeah. And this is
Anyways,
just 3 years removed from a national championship too. 3 years removed. No,
Yeah.
4 years now. Come
Yeah.
April, it'll be 4 years because it was 2022. I was at that game. They beat North Carolina.
Great game.
But so I don't have any more thoughts about that one unless you do.
Nope. Let's move on.
Arkansas versus Auburn.
Shoot.
Arkansas at Auburn. I have no idea what happened with this game. Absolutely no idea. How literally the only question I had when I saw this was how does Arkansas lose by 22 to Auburn?
It makes no sense.
Yeah, no matter what anyone says, I'm not even trying to say this because I'm an Alabama fan. Auburn is not a good team. They're not this year. They are not a good team. They've lost to every ranked team that they've played. They did get robbed by Texas A&M. I will admit that. Admit that. They got that shot off, and they should have won on a buzzer beater, on a crazy buzzer beater. But they've literally lost. They have not beaten any ranked teams until now. Oh, wait, no, never mind. I forgot. They beat St. John's when they were ranked. But whatever. They did beat St. John's when they were ranked. But Auburn's just not a good team. I thought Arkansas would handle them. But you lose by 22. I don't care that it's at Auburn. I guess my thing is that Carter Knox must have gotten hurt. I didn't look into it, but he only played 7 minutes. Had 0 points, only had one shot. He must have he had to have gotten hurt. Darius Acuff obviously played well.
He did get hurt, by the way.
Carter Knox did get hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, he had to have. But really what it was the Keyshawn Hall show. I mean, he had 32, 11 of 14, 4 of 5 from 3, and he's definitely not a three-point shooter. But it's Todd Pettiford so I had 6, so it really was the Keyshawn Hall show. He's been disappointing this year, big time, especially for a guy that you thought was going to be your main dude. But I think Keyshawn Hall is up there for. He's not going to win, but he definitely is up there for SEC Player of the Year, along with Darius Acuff. But I thought Arkansas was just going to handle Auburn because they are definitely a better team, talent-wise. wins, coaching experience. I mean, there's not anything that I would say that Auburn has over Arkansas. Not one thing. And you just get handled. I guess that's the beauty about college basketball. Because on any given night, we've said it multiple times, on any given night, anybody can win.
Yeah.
I always hate to see Auburn win, but that's just me being biased.
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I think, first of all, this was Arkansas was my pick to win the SEC. And listen, I think this game and the Alabama-Texas game we'll talk about in a second, it proves just how crazy the SEC is going to be this year. There is no dominant team like in the past where you've had like the Kentucky and the Tennessees here and there, who were Florida, who had some elite teams. There's no team like that this year. They're just all like kind of average to really, or like average to good teams. And they're just going to beat up on each other all season long. There's going to be upsets. And like Auburn, I think their team it's a product of roster churn that everybody pretty much left except for Tahad Pettiford. I mean, their whole starting five is different. And like they have not gelled together. Like it's just a bunch of new guys playing together and they don't know how to play together yet. And it's just not the type of, it's not the type of situation you want, as well as your coach left right before the season started, so it's kind of a tough situation for Auburn. But also I think this win is a product of your home environment's insane at, they
have some of the best in the world.
It's crazy. It's a small arena, but they pack it out and they go crazy for these games. I think too, Auburn was kind of due for an up spot here, like to play better because of how they lost to Texas A&M and because they had lost their first game in SEC. They were 0-2 coming into this game and they needed a win desperately. I mean, if you start out 0-3, I'm not saying like your season's over, but like 0-3, it's not looking good, and that was the game at home that you would have lost 2 games in a row at home. So they needed this one desperately. Arkansas they were just overwhelmed. I kept thinking Arkansas is going to make their run. They're going to get back in it. They can't defend either, dude. Like,
no, they
cannot not defend to save their lives. I mean, it was embarrassing, like how bad that was. How many did Auburn score in the game?
95.
95. Okay.
95 to 73.
I mean, it was just ugly all around for Arkansas. And that's just, it's not what you expect because they've been playing really well,
Oh yeah.
But basketball can be volatile, and they had a really, really bad night. Carter Knox gets injured. Acuff did not have a great game. From what are you looking at? What's that?
Yeah, he still had 19.
Yeah, he still had 19.
That just shows you how good he is. He still didn't have a great game.
No, I wonder what his field goal percentage. Are you looking at that? I didn't.
Yeah, 7 of 16 overall, 2 of 6 from 3.
It's better than I thought, but the portions that I watched, he just didn't look like himself to me. But he's a really good player. Trevon Brazile has been underwhelming the last several games after playing really well for a stretch.
Yeah. I thought he was going to kind of turn it on, but he is not.
I mean, that, like I said, in the SEC, this just proves like Auburn can beat anybody in the league, but they can also lose to anybody in the league. Like legitimately.
Anybody in the country.
Yeah, and anybody in the country. And Bethune-Cookman proved that.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know, man. It's going to be a crazy SEC season.
It really is.
Upsets just make me think about like how crazy this season is going to be, and we're just getting into conference play.
Yep. So I didn't realize this, but Auburn went on a 15-3 run right before they went into halftime and went up 49-34.
That was the game.
And that was it right there. Auburn also shot 57% from the field overall.
Yeah, can't defend.
That shows you, one, that shows you that Arkansas's defense is trash. Secondly, that shows you that Auburn was on a heater. And when you're shooting that well, I've said it, I sound like a broken record, but when you're shooting that well, it's so hard to win.
Arkansas's defensive ranking is 73 on KenPom.
Yeah.
But hey, about to talk about Bama. They're 79.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
Bama's is horrible too. And we gotta mention that quote about NATO, which we're gonna bring up in a minute. But I obviously we think Arkansas is a better team. Think you'd be dumb not to say that. But Auburn, maybe this is kind of a kickstart for
maybe.
them. Maybe I'm not saying it isn't. I'm not saying it is. This was a danger of losing 3 games in a row, and now you got to go to Missouri, who's playing really well right now.
They lost to Ole Miss,
Missouri did.
who's the worst team in the league.
Oh, yikes! How did you lose to Ole Miss?
Dude, I'm telling you, the SEC is just going to be insane.
This is crazy.
They beat Florida and Kentucky, lose to Ole Miss. I was
This
like,
is crazy,
what?
man.
How does
But
that happen?
you know what? Give hats off to Auburn for finally putting it together. I'll give them that. Hats off to Auburn for finally putting it together. They had 1, 2, 3, 4 guys in double digits.
Yeah, they played really well, man. Can you guess the 2 SEC teams who are undefeated in conference play?
2 SEC teams
Just
that are
2.
undefeated.
There's just 2.
There's just 2 now.
We're 3 games in.
I think Mississippi State is undefeated in conference play.
Nope.
No. I thought they were.
I don't think you'll get it.
No, it's not South Carolina, is it?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to think of some random ones. Texas?
Nope.
Oh my goodness.
It's
Ole Miss?
Nope. I'll just tell you. It's A&M and Vandy. Are the
I could have guessed Vandy.
Only 2 undefeated teams. And
I don't know why I didn't guess Vandy. Vandy hasn't lost at all.
Yeah, Vandy has not lost a game yet. So it's going to be a wild ride in the SEC. Some teams have only played 2 games. Some have played 3 games now, and it's just like, what is this season going to hold here? I mean, like, I don't know. It is listing Alabama as 1-1 in conference play, and that's not true.
No, it's not,
because they lost to Vandy and Texas now. So
1 and 2 now. Embarrassing.
So let's talk about that game. Texas.
Yeah, let's go right into it.
Texas beat Alabama. I mean, we watched, pretty much all of this. I didn't get to watch some of it driving back from Gulf Breeze, but I watched a lot of it, and it's a broken record thing with Alabama, man. They literally they can't defend. They cannot defend. And Nate Oates did. I mean, he finally kind of addressed this, and I'm glad he did. Like, what's he waiting on to address this? Like, this needed to be addressed weeks ago. Like, this team does not defend. Here's my thing. You've got to stop playing players. I don't care if they're great on the offensive end. If they don't defend, get them out of there. Get them out of the game. Because there's somebody who can. You're 79 in defense on KenPom, and that is by far the worst of any of the top teams. Alabama's still 14 in KenPom, by the way. But 79 is embarrassing. And you're giving up 90 regularly. And you
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, what's the KenPom stat where it's like I think every team who's won the national championship has been top 15 in both offense and defense.
I think the last 20-something national champions have been in the top 20 of both offense and defense. Alabama's nowhere near.
Not even close.
It's not even close.
Yeah, and let me read that quote to you from Nate Oates, and I'll let you get back to what you were saying. He said, this is what Nate Oates said. We got guys that don't care enough to lock in and follow a game plan. Losing doesn't bother them enough yet. I mean, I don't know how many losses it's going to take until it bothers them.
That's bad.
Yeah, that's really bad. For lack of better terms, he's saying we have guys who don't want to play defense because they don't care.
Yep.
That's pretty much what he's saying.
They want to get theirs on the offensive end and forget the defense.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And I'm going to be honest, I love LeBaron Philon and Aiden Holloway, both horrible defenders, both of them. Yeah. LeBaron Philon's good at getting steals, but that's all he wants to do. He just wants to try and steal the ball. He doesn't want to sit down and play 30 seconds of defense.
Yep.
I just don't understand it. And Nate Oates is right. Like, when are these guys going to care? But sorry, I'm going to let you get back to what you were saying.
No, it's okay. I mean, I think our expectations got a little too high for Alabama after beating Illinois and beating St. John's, and that St. John's win is not not as impressive anymore.
No.
But it's just the defending is getting ridiculous, but it's also like LeBaron had 5 turnovers in this game.
Yeah.
It's like, and the team had 7 total. That's it. So it's like, dude,
Wow.
you've got to take care of the ball better. Okay.
As a point guard, for sure.
The other thing I was thinking about this is you're at home, and Texas. Listen, they're not a bad team. They have some good players. Tremont Mark is good. The Pope dude is good.
Jordan Pope, yeah.
They've got some good players. You should beat Texas, especially at home. But they were handling Alabama. They had a double-digit lead for a long time in this game, and it's like Alabama would crawl back in it. Texas would go back and back up by 8 or 10. Bama would cut the lead. Texas would take the lead back. And it was like at the end of the game, I've never seen a team who doesn't want to take the lead more than Alabama.
Yeah.
Like, they had so many shots to take the lead at the end of this game, and they just can't hit free throws, can't capitalize on a stop, can't get the stop that you need at times. It's like, dude, what does this team have to do? And it got to the point where it was like a 3-point lead. You just know Alabama's going to lose this game. For Texas, they had a 3-point lead, and it's like Alabama can't do it. They can't get over this hump, and they didn't. So
yeah,
very
I was just going to say that Texas literally tried to hand this game away.
Literally.
Yeah.
They're giving it to Bama.
They were down. Bama was down 1 with 42 seconds left to go. And LeBaron with 28 seconds left to go. I mean, down 1 with 28 seconds left to go. And LeBaron Philon, who hasn't made a 3 all game, does a step back 3 down 1 with 28 seconds left. And we were just like, dude, what are you doing? Now, if we hit it, we might have said like, oh, what an incredible shot.
That's a dumb shot.
It's a dumb shot no matter what.
All right.
It's a stupid shot. It doesn't matter. Your skill is driving in. Take someone to the rim. Take them to the rim. Get fouled.
Calling fouls.
Yes, they were calling everything. And Bama's biggest issue, Beto said this earlier in the season. He said, Bama is not going to be able to compete. I can't remember the exact quote. He said, Bama is not going to be able to compete until they're able to learn how to rebound. Got out-rebounded by 10 against Texas, 48-38. 18 offensive rebounds for Texas, 13 for Alabama. And like that it continues to be a struggle. And it's just the law of probability. The more chances someone has at a shot, the more likely they're going to make it. It's very simple.
Yeah.
I've never seen a team refuse to box out like Alabama. They just don't. No one gets a body on a body immunity. They just jump over and over again. Just keep on trying to tip the ball. Just box out and do your job, play the fundamentals, and you would win. Bama, really, realistically, this is my opinion. Bama would have, which is not that, it's not much difference, but Bama would be maybe be 13-3 if they could just play fundamental basketball.
Yeah.
They'd be 13-3 if they could just do the simple things right.
Big if.
Yeah, that's true. Sadly, it is a big if, but it shouldn't be. And now Bama is in danger, to me, of losing 3 games in a row. Mississippi State beat Texas.
Yeah.
So they got to go at Mississippi State in a dangerous environment. Almost lost there last year with a much better team, in my opinion. Alabama was a much better team last year. I didn't think they were going to be, but they were. But
Mississippi State's not as good, though.
No, they can't make free throws either. Bama. But Texas couldn't either. Yeah, Texas couldn't make free throws either. But, man, you got to make a free throw.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It is horrible.
Yeah,
I'm trying to see some of these free throw stats for some of our players. I thought they had it on here, but I guess
it was
they
8 of 15 in the second half, which is atrocious. And free throw
percentage,
it was 70% overall, and Texas shot 69, so it was right there. I mean, like we've said this before, it's so weird. Alabama plays better away or at neutral sites than at home. I don't get it. It makes no sense. It should be the other way around. But they just play bad at home. And, like, guys, this was no fluke. Texas had Alabama this entire game. Had Alabama won this game, it would have been a steal for Bama.
Yes.
Because Texas dominated them. It wasn't like Alabama did not deserve to win this game. Let's put it that way.
No.
And I don't know, man. I will say this too. And this is not an excuse because you still have to beat Texas. Alabama has still not had their full complement of players. Latrell Wrightsell was out in this game. Davion Hanna has been out for weeks now. And I want to see when they have their full complement of players, does that make a difference? What does the rotation look like when they have everybody? Right. I still think you probably would have lost this game, but anyways.
Yeah, probably, unfortunately.
But we're at 41 minutes now, so
it is what it is. Yeah, we need to go ahead and speed it up. I think that's all we got for the upsets, to my knowledge. Man, it was crazy. It was crazy. I've said it before again. This is why I love college basketball. You don't get upsets like this. You don't really get upsets like this in college football or really any other sport. I mean, obviously in NBA it's different, but college basketball definitely has that factor, especially come March. That's what you live for. You live for the madness, and that's why it's called March Madness. But we're going to get in to some mid-major teams. Speaking of March Madness, we know that mid-majors have kind of died down a little bit because of the NIL, unfortunately. Like last year, everyone was saying how bad the NCAA tournament was because there was no upsets. Like there was hardly any upsets. The only one that I can remember is McNeese State beating Clemson, and everyone predicted that. Literally everyone predicted McNeese State. I know I did, among many others.
Colorado State beat somebody and almost beat Maryland. They were a solid team.
That's right.
That's definitely a narrative I've heard is, in this era of college basketball, are these upsets gone?
Yeah.
Is it because of the portal and the NIL? Are they is that snatching away all these good players from these mid-major teams? I am inclined to say that this past year was kind of a one-off last year's tournament. I think we're going to see more chaos this year and more upsets. Because I still think there's just so many teams in the NCAA tournament. It's bound to happen to have a team who makes a run and multiple teams who upset in the first round. I think it's going to happen because there's still good teams out there that you may not expect. All the 1 seeds made it to the Final Four last year, right? Am I correct in that?
Yeah, all the 1 seeds made it. Yep.
I don't think people understand how rare that is. I think it's happened twice in the history of the NCAA tournament. Once this century. So you're talking about few and far between. That's not going to happen again this year. I see more upsets coming. I don't think the Cinderella is completely dead. I think we're going to see some more chaos this year. Do you agree with that or not?
Oh yeah, I do 100%. I think that with everything going on, you can already kind of tell that there's going to be a lot of more upsets come March Madness. And there are some solid mid-major teams. And my first one is St. Louis Billikens, best looking mascot out there.
Hey, clarify this real quick. What we want to talk about is we're going to talk about these Cinderella teams who we think can make a deep run in the NCAA tournament, kind of be that the darling of the NCAA tournament. We're not talking about a NC State, a couple years ago, who they're an ACC team. That's a power conference team. And although that would be, I guess, considered a Cinderella run, we're looking at teams that nobody really knows about, that not many people are talking about, the mid-major teams, the lower conference teams. So anyways, St. Louis qualifies there. They're in the A10, I believe.
Yes, they are. I think they definitely qualify. I mean, you can just, I think a lot of times you can look at the schedule and you can kind of see. Now, every now and then some mid-major teams play a little bit of a harder schedule, but St. Louis is averaging 95 points per game, which is really impressive for any team. I don't care what division you're in. And they're also averaging 5th in the nation in rebounding at 45 rebounds per game, which is better than Alabama can say. Their only loss came at the buzzer against Stanford, and Stanford just beat Louisville. So St. Louis is a good team, and I don't know what it is. St. Louis if you go back over the years and you just look at the history, they have had solid teams. They have had teams who've made runs in March Madness, and I could see it happening again very easily this year. They are I think 15-1 now, and they just continue to be solid consistently. They continue to be a solid team, especially for a mid-major. So that's my team that I think is going to make a difference in March. So look out for St. Louis, my second team, and then I'll let you get into yours.
Hey,
You have something to say?
Dalton, do you have their schedule up?
Yeah, I do.
St. Louis?
Yes.
What would you say their best win? I know you
Their
said
best
they barely
win
lost to.
is Santa Clara.
Okay, yeah,
They
that's
beat
not
Santa Clara by 1,
bad.
which I think that's their best win. They also beat Grand Canyon by 14. Grand Canyon's not horrible. Let's see. They also beat San Francisco, which
Hey,
they're not. San Francisco's not good this year, but
but still, that's a WCC team. Hey, they're
yeah,
34 in Ken Palm, which is right behind North Carolina and right ahead of St. Mary's. So
yeah.
34 is a really good ranking for an A10 team like this.
That I would agree 100%. I think
Watch out for them.
Yeah, I think St. Louis is a good team. I think they're going to make some noise in March. I kind of hope that they end up being like a 9 or a 10 because I love those picks anyways. I love making those 9, 10 picks, especially with a team like St. Louis. And my next team,
dude, 8 and 9 play, and then they play the 1 seed.
yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying,
okay. I wouldn't want
just,
them to be 9.
No. I'm just saying, for them to win their first game. Obviously, you're not going to win. You're probably not going to win the next game, but I'm just saying to win the first game.
I see.
My next team, which is a little bit iffy on a mid-major, they still are because of what classifies as a mid-major, but Utah State, who now is ranked 23rd in the AP poll. They're 14-1. Utah State. I didn't even realize until today when I looked at the AP poll that they were as good as they are. They lost to South Florida on the road, but they've responded with 5 straight wins, including an 18-point victory over San Jose State, which isn't like an incredible win, but Utah State, they a few years ago they were ranked, if I remember correctly, top 5 when they had the Martin twins. I think they were in the top.
I don't know if they were in the top 5, but
they were good. They were a really good team that year. They ended up not doing much, but they lost. They beat Colorado State. They beat Colorado State 100-58.
Whew.
Yeah, that's probably their best win. They got 5 wins in a row now. They got to play Nevada next.
VCU not a bad win for them too.
Yeah, beat VCU, and they beat Tulane as well. They don't have a ton of hard games coming up just because obviously the mid majors. I think their next hardest game is probably on the 31st when they play San Diego State, and then they play New Mexico. So
that'd be a good one.
Those 2 games back to back are going to be pretty hard games. But Utah State, man, they are a lot more talented than I think a lot of people want to give them credit for. I'm trying to see what's their point average here if I can find it. But I'm not finding it.
Let me say this while you're looking for that. They're 20 on Ken Palm, and that is that's a really, really good ranking, and that's easily the highest Mountain West Conference team. The Mountain West is not as good this year. Like San Diego State is not looking good. Boise State, I don't know. They're not as good. But they're 15 on offense and 39 on defense. So that's pretty solid for this Mountain West Conference team. And Utah State, 14-1. I'd look out for them too. Although they've had good teams in the past, and sometimes they kind of fizzle out. And by the way, the Martin twins played for Nevada, not for Utah.
Oh, they played for Nevada, not Utah State. Oh, I thought they played for Nevada. Same Utah State.
Same color scheme. And they're
not bad.
I think they're in the same conference too. So I mean,
yeah. Well, they're playing. That's their next game. So that's on me. They're averaging 87 points per game. Utah State is, which isn't bad. They have a guy MJ, I just lost his name. MJ Collins averaging 21 points a game on their team. So that's really impressive for a team like that. Unfortunately, he's probably not even going to be on that team next year because of NIL, but we'll see. I love the guys who stick around just for loyalty sakes. They're just kind of like, you know what? I'm going to get mine here. I'm going to be good here. I'm going to get noticed here. You've seen it over the years. Players go to mid-majors and go to the NBA and be successful because they're just that talented. So we'll see what happens. I really hope NIL doesn't change college basketball as much as it's changing college football. But those are my two teams. I keep on saying that. St. Louis and Utah State are my two mid-major teams. Tucker, what are yours?
Yeah, I think we've got to look at Miami, Ohio. They're one of the few undefeated teams left. You've got there's like Iowa State, Vandy, couple others, and you've got Miami, Ohio, who I've seen them on some graphics as like being undefeated. They're 17-0. Now let's be honest, their schedule is terrible.
Yeah.
Like they have played no major conference teams yet, and they won't. Their schedule is very, very bad. I'd be curious, like a strength of schedule. Theirs would be easily like in the high 100s, maybe 200s. I mean, this is bad.
I'm looking it up for you.
So I will say, the schedule's not great, but I don't care. 17-0, that's impressive. They did have they had a close win against UNC Asheville. They won an OT. And that was obviously their closest game there. And I don't really know what their best win would be here because, again, I mean, their schedule is just not great. Like, if I read some of these teams off, you probably wouldn't even know some of these teams. So, not the greatest schedule, but again, 17-0 is impressive. I don't think that it's going to be good enough to get into the tournament if you don't win your conference tournament. Like if Miami, Ohio somehow loses in their conference tournament, I don't think the schedule is good enough to get into the tournament.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, I should have looked this up beforehand. Who's the highest, ranked team in KenPom that they've beaten? They're 97 at 17-0. They're 97 in KenPom.
According to this website that I found, their strength of schedule is 209th.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Which is probably not right.
Yeah, that is atrocious. Okay.
Yeah.
So like I guess UNC Greensboro or UNC Asheville maybe is like their best win.
Those are their best wins.
Toledo? I don't know, man.
Hey, Buffalo's actually pretty good though. So they got to play Buffalo soon, and Buffalo's not bad.
No, yeah. That's not a bad team. They've made some, when Nate Oates was at Buffalo, they made some noise in the tournament.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like 17-0 is impressive. Okay.
Yes, it is.
And they've got, several guys in double figures on this team. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys average double figures. That's impressive. And, this is something that you need out of, your team with when it comes to March, having multiple guys to kind of throw at other teams. They average 93 points a game. Like you were talking about that. That's pretty impressive. So anyways, I think Miami, Ohio is a team to keep an eye on because of just how, they've been running through their schedule. They're 17-0. The other team, actually I have 2 other teams, but the other team I wanted to mention was George Mason. All right. George Mason, made a run to the Final Four several years ago. I don't remember when. That was like 2006, I feel like.
Let me see.
I think they lost to LSU.
2006, good call.
Okay. I think they lost to LSU that year. But they're in the A10 as well, which that will be really interesting to see them when they play St. Louis. That's the last game of the season. How about that? So
who are they playing? Sorry.
George Mason plays St. Louis last game of the season. So
wow.
Your team playing the team that I'm bringing up here. But George Mason, 16-1. Their lone loss is to Virginia Tech. They lost that game by 11 points at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is, not a great team, but they're solid. They beat Virginia recently. There's nobody else on that. This is kind of like Miami, Ohio's schedule, but better because of Virginia Tech on this one. There's really nobody else on the schedule that you just look at and it's like, oh man, that's a great team.
Yeah.
But they've handled their business against all these teams, and a lot of these have been blowouts. A lot of them have been blowouts. They've been handling these teams. And so I'm curious to see when they're now getting into conference play. They did beat VCU the other night. That's a good win. But we got to wait and see against, St. Louis is going to be one of the big ones.
Oh yeah. Yeah. In 2006, they beat Michigan State and North Carolina and number 1 seed UConn, and they ended up losing. They ended up losing to Florida.
Oh, it's Florida.
Who won the championship that year.
Yeah. So I mean like these two teams, you've got to just look at their record and think, okay, like 16-1 and 17-0 for Miami, Ohio, and George Mason, like that's impressive. And so I wanted to highlight these two teams, although their schedules have not been super strong. These teams I could see getting into the tournament and winning a game, or maybe even making it to the second weekend. We'll see how that goes. The last team I wanted to pull up was New Mexico. New Mexico, they've had solid team. They were a solid team last year. I think Donovan Dent was on the team last year, and transferred to UCLA, of course. But this seems solid too. Like they're 13-3. They're in the Mountain West, with Utah State that Dalton talked about. So we're curious to see how that plays out there. They've lost to Nebraska. They lost to Nebraska by 12. So I mean, relatively close against Nebraska, who's looking like a really good team. Now they were down by 18 at halftime. But they closed the gap in the second half. They did beat Mississippi State. So this team has beaten an SEC team, and Mississippi State's put up some good fights here in the SEC early season so far. They beat Santa Clara, they beat VCU. They did lose to Boise State recently, and they have lost to New Mexico State. So it's kind of, there's some up and downs here, but like I'm just looking at the fact that they at least competed against Nebraska somewhat, and they beat Mississippi State. So this is a team that, I think could make some noise too. Doesn't look like they don't have anybody who's going to wow you. Their leading scorer, Jake Hall, averages 14 points a game. So,
but that win against Mississippi State is way better than any other wins that any of the other teams we mentioned.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's why I wanted to kind of pull them as another example. But I was trying to look here at their KenPom ranking, and I'm not finding them here right now.
If you do Command F, you can type them in.
Yeah, it's 51. They're 51, and that's solid for
really not terrible.
Yeah, a Mountain West team, but like I said, Utah State's all the way up at 20. So
which is really impressive.
I think both those teams are going to make the tournament, and I could see them making a run. There's other teams out there, guys. Leave them in the comments if you think there's a team out there who can make a run. And inevitably, guys, we didn't mention teams from the power conferences. There are going to be some teams that like sneak in as like an 8 or 9 seed or 10 seed or maybe even an 11 seed, and they make a run, or a 7 seed, and they make a run as a major conference team. Like again, NC State barely made the tournament. I think they were an 11 seed a couple years ago. They went to the Final Four.
They only made it because they won the ACC that year.
Yeah. And we're not going to talk about these power conference teams. We wanted to talk about some teams that like are under the radar you probably haven't heard of before. So look out for these teams come March. I think most of these or all of them are going to make the tournament. So look out. There's probably more we could talk about, but we're already at an hour now. So let's finish up by talking about a couple of games here that are happening tomorrow.
Yeah, just real quick. We'll try and do this real fast, guys. We're gonna talk about a couple games. First is UConn at Seton Hall, number 3 versus number 25. Seton Hall is now ranked. I don't know if y'all remember, those watching or those who might watch or those who might watch a clip. Seton Hall's head coach is the guy that took St. Peter's all the way to the Elite Eight, Shaheen Holloway.
Yeah.
He took St. Peter's to the Elite Eight beat some great teams on the way there. No one
Kentucky.
thought they yeah, and Purdue. They never thought that they could do it. First 15 seed ever to go that far. So Shaheen Holloway is obviously a great coach, and this is a great turnaround for them because if you don't remember last season, they were horrible. They were horrible, and I mean horrible last season.
Were they
They're
horrible?
now, yes, they were horrible, horrible. They're now 14-2 and second in the Big East. And I think they're going to continue to be solid. Their losses are against USC, which that's not a great loss, but USC was ranked earlier in the season, and their other loss
Villanova.
is to Villanova, which not a great loss either. But I will go ahead and say I think UConn is going to be too much for them. There is a world, obviously, where Seton Hall wins just because it's basketball, but their leading scorer only averages 12 points a game. You're not going to have a. I think the otherworldly performance is out of a question here. I think that's like out of the realm of possibility. I think you're just going to have an all around great performance with Seton Hall to have a chance. I'm just playing. What is it going to take? I think you're going to have 4 guys at least 10 plus at minimum. And that still might not be enough. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to take UConn. I'm going to take them to win. I'm going to take them to cover. I think this is just going to be too much. UConn's number 3 in the nation. They're number 3 for a reason. But we'll see what happens. I would love to see Seton Hall win this game. That's my personal opinion. Would love to see Seton Hall win. What do you got on this?
I mean, Seton Hall's got some solid wins. I mean, you beat NC. None of these wins are like incredible. Like you beat NC State by 11, beat Washington State by 14, Kansas State by 11, Rutgers by 13 or 12 rather. So you beat Providence, who's shown some really good fight. You know, at the end of the day, UConn is just going to be too much, man. I mean, you just mentioned that this team is they're number 3 for a reason, you know, or 4, whatever they're ranked, and
3.
That's what I thought. And like I could see Seton Hall putting up a fight because it's at Seton Hall and they're going to be amped up and ready to go. This is by far the best team that they have played. I mean, it's not even close. All due respect to some of these teams, but UConn's another monster. And they got a lot of guys that they can throw at you, and I think they'll just be too much for Seton Hall. Again, I would love to see it happen too, you know, to see Seton Hall. Yep. And, hey, I think they're flying under the radar a little bit. Maybe they're better than we're giving them credit for, and they'll come out and beat
they are.
So,
yeah, and just another stat is UConn's ranked 9th in KenPom. Seton Hall's all the way down at 43. So, really big gap there. Compared to the AP poll, which is obviously not quite as big as a gap because there's only 25 teams. But sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Just thought I should say that.
I want to go ahead and move on to. We're both going to pick UConn in that game. Let's move on to Iowa State at Kansas. That's a huge game. Kansas has been underwhelming. Anytime you got a team like this, a top 5 team, going into Allen Fieldhouse, I don't care how bad Kansas is, it's gonna be electric in there. So I mean, the Big 12 is insane. I mean,
it is.
You've got to turn around and play some really good teams every single week, it seems. And again, I don't care how bad Kansas has been; they're going to be ready for this game. They always seem to show up at Allen Fieldhouse in games like this. But I'm going to go back to what we talked about. This is not a vintage Kansas team. They are not loaded with talent like they have been in years past. Got some really good players. Darren Peterson is an absolute dog. Outside of him, I think everybody just kind of average or to okay, good. Nobody else is great on this team. I do think, I guess you could probably give the coaching edge to Kansas here, but
barely, probably.
Yeah, I think Iowa State's going to win this game. That's my pick. They have looked so good and consistent this year. Like, they have been so good on both ends of the floor. And I think that's the kind of the big difference this year is in the past, their defense has been the leader and their offense has kind of lagged behind. But this year, they're actually doing pretty good on both ends, and they're all the way up here at Ken Palm at number 3. 12 offense, 2 defense. I mean, this is a really good team, and they've got weapon after weapon with Tamin Lipsey, Momchilovich, but I think a Big 12 player candidate of the year, Joshua Jefferson. This dude is a beast.
He definitely has a chance to win because he is so good.
I mean, he's averaging like 17, I don't know, like 17, 9, and 5 or something like that.
I'll pull it up for you. 18 points a game, 8 rebounds a game, 5 assists.
I mean, this dude is going off, and this is a really, really good team. Don't forget, this team beat Purdue at Purdue, which I think is a better team than Kansas, and a better, maybe just as good of an environment as Kansas. Maybe not as good, but they whooped them. I think they're going to be too much for Kansas. Iowa State remains undefeated.
Look, I think you make really good points. I think Iowa State, I'm going to be honest and say Iowa State is probably going to win this game. I'm going to go against my better judgment, and I'm going to take Kansas. And I'm going to take Kansas for one reason and one reason only. It's what you told me about Texas Tech when they beat Duke. They are searching for that win still. Kansas is searching for that win. They have not. They lost to North Carolina. They lost to Duke. They beat Tennessee, which, I mean, that's their best win easily. Lost to UConn only by 5. That game was at Allen Fieldhouse as well. Only lost by 5. They've had some really they just lost to UCF, barely beat TCU, lost to West Virginia. I'm hoping that maybe that loss to West Virginia. Like I'm giving y'all reasons right now to doubt Kansas, but I'm hoping that loss against West Virginia was kind of a slap in the face and kind of wake them up a little bit, and will knock some sense into Kansas, and they will come alive. And you know the environment's going to be insane this game. My big key, I've already said this earlier, is Flory Badunga, both sides of the floor, because he's probably going to have to guard Joshua Jefferson. So how good is he going to do against Joshua Jefferson, and how good is he going to do all on the offensive floor? I think if you can get him 15 points, this is my opinion, if you can get Flory Badunga 15 points, that's going to be enough to win the game. And I'm thinking he does it. I'm taking Kansas to win and get their biggest win and knock Iowa State from being undefeated, and there only being a few undefeated teams left after that. Just to give you all some odds, Iowa State is -3.5 going in to Kansas. ESPN has them as a 58.9% favorite, which, like I said, I would agree with most of that. I think it's pretty fair to say, because you got the number 2 team in the nation versus an unranked Kansas who's been pretty lackluster. But I just really, for some reason, I don't know what it is. Like I said, I'm going against my better judgment, and I'm taking Kansas to win this game. I'm taking Darren Peterson to have a beast of a game as well. And they're just going to put the pieces together for at least one game and knock off Iowa State in a shocker.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I could see that. You're right. Kansas needs this win. And when you think a team's down and out, that's a lot of times when they start bouncing back. So maybe you're right, but I think you're wrong. Yeah. I think Iowa State's just different this year. Let me say one other thing real quick, and then we'll be done. I just found this out. More bad news for Kentucky, man. Jalen Lowe out for the season.
Oh,
he was out with an injury for the first 10 games, came back for the last handful of games, and was, I said in a previous episode, maybe their best player. You know, he is definitely, if he's not the best player, he's one of them. And now he's out for the season. He's having shoulder surgery, so he's done. Things just looking worse and worse for Kentucky. So insult to injury here.
That's brutal.
Yep.
That's brutal.
So
poor Kentucky. They can't seem to catch a break. I think Mark Pope will be lucky to see the end of the season. We'll see what happens. That's all we got for tonight, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We love y'all. College basketball is the best sport of all time. I don't care what anyone says. Roll Tide forever. God loves you. We love you. God bless.